Labguy here. Good morning. Today is November 15th, 2017. Yesterday a friend and I took a short trip up to Berkeley, California to visit our friend John Staples, W6BM. He's the person who purchased my Iconoscope bomb camera and my Image Orthicon bomb camera. Now I did manage to get the Iconoscope camera working, as you've seen in earlier videos, and I put a lot of work into the Image Orthicon camera until I reached a level of disgust that I couldn't bear anymore, and I was in a bit of an economic hard time, and I sold both cameras to John. Well, that's water under the bridge. John went ahead and completed the restoration of the Image Orthicon bomb camera. This is excellent. This is excellent. You'll see more of that in a moment. For those of you who don't know what an Image Orthicon is, this is an Image Orthicon tube. If you watched television in the 1960s, anywhere from the early 50s to the end of the 1960s and even into the 1970s, most television broadcast stations used cameras that contained this kind of tube. This is an Image Orthicon tube. Great big monster. And it has many special, unique properties compared to other camera tubes because it's an exceedingly complicated tube. This end is essentially the Farnsworth image dissector. The rest of it is partially from here to here is Zworykin's Iconoscope, and then this last section is dynode multipliers, and we're back to Farnsworth. So no one person did the groundwork for this tube. The tube was designed by Albert Rose and Company at RCA in the late 1940s. It went on to become a standard product for about 25 years. The video you saw of me greeting you was shot with that kind of a tube. I'd like to thank John for restoring the camera, and now let's get on with a little bit more video from that day. It's bad video, you've been warned.
Even that's something that's not very bright.
I'm not very bright.
No, it won't come up right away because I'll have to mainly dick around with the target and beam. Okay.
Yeah, like that.
Okay.
Wow, we got the black bar again.
It has a hugely wide horizontal blanking
okay.
pulse, and I didn't. First of all, I don't want to change anything from original. The whole point of all of this is to preserve what it was.
Okay,
then.
yeah.
I'm just going to start.
Okay.
I'm just going to start playing here, and it's going to drift around. I'll tell you. There are 8 parameters, and they all had to be. And just finding the right parameters. You have this Venn diagram that has almost no overlap.
Oh God!
And it took me a while to find that overlap. Okay, so things will improve. Just give it some time.
Yeah, I believe it. I expect that it would get better as it warms up.
Besides, of course, now we're not doing gamma correction, so the picture is going to look kind of ghastly. Okay, and basically you just have to sit here and continue to diddle. So
is that spot in the center, that bright spot?
Yeah, there is a bright spot.
Will it go away?
Not really. Not really. Not really.
Okay, let's see if I can get that back up here. Kinescope. Somebody on YouTube accused me of making really bad kinescope recordings. I go, what are you kidding? That's redundant. All kinescope recordings are really bad. Now hold still.
I mean, this is pretty amazing. Look at him. He's on an Orthicon camera.
Labguy here.
Let me just focus it. Focus this. Sorry. Wrong.
Okay.
Ooh, look at, you can see every little hair on his chin.
Thank you very much.
And
Labguy here.
okay,
And I need some these are B-rolls I'm shooting.
It'll hold this for about 2 minutes.
Okay.
And then it'll start drifting off.
All right. Labguy here. And Labguy out. Wow. So we have image Orthicon video of a CCD camera. Wow, that is some hideous video. I love it. My goodness.
It took a while to get here. It really did. But what you did to this camera, you know, when I write this up, you're going to get a great big part of that write-up.
Oh, thank you.
In what you did, particularly, you know, the winding of the focus coil.
Yeah.
You just went through hell on that one, and you know, without that, the camera probably would have never worked.
Right. Well, it would not have worked. You said that the beam current had to be changed, or not the coil current, the focus coil.
Current, right. The old tube was the 2P21. Was I think about 50 Gauss or something like that, and I had to raise it up to 75. So, and then the cutoff bias for the 5820 is much higher than it is for that tube. So I had to add a lot more cutoff bias so that I could actually cut the beam off. Otherwise, one of the problems that I couldn't find anything, it was always totally saturated. And so I had to cut the beam back. Okay, now you see it's starting to get bad.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. That was what I was worried about, was the initial setup just to get a picture.
It took a while. It took the wrong way.
Well, you know, I'm grateful to hear that I didn't do any permanent damage.
No, you did a really nice job on what you did.
Yeah, I kind of sold these in panic. I shouldn't have, but...
Well, I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I know you are. And I'm glad you got them working. And this will be the video to close that open-ended video that's on YouTube.
Yeah, Iconoscope camera, of course, looks much better, but you have to aim it outside.
So, Troy Walters, I wish you were here. And I know you wish you were here. This is a moment.
Well, I want you to video the whole thing so I can.
Right.
So I don't have to send all that stuff.
I want everyone to know that the $500 I paid for the camera and the $1,000 I put into it didn't get flushed down the toilet.
Didn't quite break even, but
no, I didn't break even.
Came close. I was always afraid to put myself in front of this camera because I didn't want to look at myself. But actually, it's actually better than I expected.
That's really good.
It's not bad. No, and that's a 5820 tube.
That is a 5820.
Okay. I have a 5820 made by Shibiden in Japan.
Yeah.
And I want to bring that over and test it.
Sure. It's really easy to pop the tube out and put another one in. That's really easy to do on this camera.
So you're looking at Labguy on the image Orthicon tube.
At W6PM.
Now if I can't think of his name. What was that performer from the 60s, the 70s, 50s?
There were a lot of Sid Caesar.
No,
Burl.
He was killed in a car wreck in his Corvair.
That was...
Greeting over your Orthicon tube.
Yeah, see, he was the big innovator. He was the TV innovator. He turned the cameras on their sides and did things like that. lot of special effects.
All right, so here, let me see. I don't know why I'm getting some low frequency stuff there in the picture. Let me see if I can fix that a little bit.
Wow, that's ugly. Here's my good side. Here's my other good side. I love that. I love that line. Woohoo! And thanks, I want to thank John Turner of Turner Engineering for picking this camera up and shipping it for me. He's a pal. He's my buddy. And
Okay, keep your face in there so I can get something.
trying to stay in front of one camera and aim the other. I apologize to everyone on YouTube that this thing's sloshing around like you were on a boat on the high seas. And all I can say to you is tough. And a word to my dentist, there's nothing wrong with my teeth. Well, that's a Halloween picture. That is really a Halloween picture. We're going to have to get some more Orthicon tubes for you.
Yeah.
We'll get you some more. I have 3 or 4 of my own
Okay.
that are probably as awful as this one, but we'll find out. But the Sheben and Orthicon, you know, Orthicon tubes are worth about $35 if they're no good. So you put on your bookcase. One like this,
but it might
I don't
be
know,
good.
would you pay $200 for a tube that works that well, or $100? 60. Yeah. So putting a value on them is hard. But I'll tell you one thing: if you wanted to sell your tube on eBay, and you could actually plug it into a camera like this and show that it makes a picture, you're going to get a lot more money for it. It's a burnt charge in the middle of the glass. There's a thin glass sheet that the charge is transferred to, that the image charge is transferred to, and it's read off the back side of it. The glass is so thin, the electrons go right through it.
Yeah, there's another one around here somewhere. I don't see it. Because I've got, I think, three not in the camera.
Yeah.
I think I have about 3 or 4
Yeah.
extras here. This is, I think they're all 5820s. Well, no, I think one or two of these came from you.
Yeah. You probably cleaned up the dirty one. I didn't even touch it. I didn't want to do anything to it.
Okay, actually I can't.
And being that it was in such bad shape, that was going to be my sacrificial tube.
I can't even see what the, I don't even see a,
And you saw it here first on Labguy's World.
all right, yeah. of the CRT. But that's actually, except for the spot in the middle, that's, and all this low frequency, you know, these things are designed not to have low frequency response, and then you put it back in at the where they insert the pedestal.
That's right. Yeah. Wow.
You know, so because these things were shaking in planes and things like that, and so they didn't want that.
Well, you know, the camera didn't have to be high quality. It just had to run long enough to get to the target.
That's right. and they never really were approved by the armed forces.
Oh no, this was actually developed after the war. This one.
Yes. But there was a report on the Orthicon cameras, and they were basically rejected them because they were too unstable.
Right. Well, they were real hairy to keep running, and like you see with the drift. That's why there was a job at a TV station called Shader, and what he's doing is what this guy got paid full time. He would sit and had 3 cameras, and he had to turn the pots continuously.
Yes.
And because of what you're seeing here. That's amazing.
Look at those teeth.
Boy, I won't get anything for those teeth on eBay.
Actually, the thing is looking pretty good.
Very good. Thank you for finishing it.
Well, thank you.
I was out of my depths on it. That relay was scaring me to death. I see you just bypassed it. Never occurred to me. Never even occurred to me to bypass the relay.
We'll open these up and you can see all the stuff.
Sure.
On the inside. But they are, you know, except for small changes for the 5820. They're all original because I want to recreate that's the whole business of everything you see here. Is I get something in, I take out modifications. I want to preserve the original engineering.
Okay, go for it. So the name that I remember now is Ernie Kovacs. He was always coming to us from his Image Orthicon tube. So here's Labguy coming to you from an Image Orthicon tube. Looking ghastly. Wonderful. Yes, Farnsworth would have looked at that and go, there's no money in this. I like artifacts. I love image artifacts because then it gives you something to talk about. You know, there's a lot going on in that tube. So
it is so delicate. Every little parameter has to be just right.
You bump that tube when you're handling it, you'll shatter that glass, the target. You'll shatter it. One of the tubes I have at home, you can look through it. You can see the glass hanging like shredded draperies.
No.
Yeah, that one is a display tube for me. So there we go. I'm good. Here's another old friend of mine. It's the old bomb cam, folks.
Is this your tripod too?
And I did get this one working. And of course, John has made it work better because he likes that original restoration.
Here she comes. Here she comes.
There you go.
Just give it a little while to kind of warm up. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Focus. These controls are hot, so I don't want to stick my finger.
Yeah, I know. You don't want to ground the screwdriver either.
Look, as it goes through focus, you see that interesting kind of, see that right there?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that is exactly.
I think it's secondary electrons raining back down.
Okay, I'll get the optical focus.
Apparently, iconoscopes were plagued with secondary electron problems.
And then goof around here. And in fact, see the RF interference? I don't know where it's coming from.
Comes and
Just
goes.
No, it just comes. It comes and goes. Mm-hmm. And the RF is probably I couldn't even put a spectrum analyzer and find out what it is. Is it KNEW out here at 12, at 11, at 960? Because the horizontal oscillator is not crystal controlled, the beat note will change. So there you go. And it doesn't smoke.
Yay, anymore. It doesn't smoke anymore.
It doesn't smoke anymore.
All right. Well, thanks for fixing that too.
You can see that. In fact, if you look here, you can see.
Oh God! Look at the tilt.
Yeah, so it does need shading correction.
Yep. What a great thing! What a great thing!
Now you're going to have to rephotograph the.
We're looking at a 1929 Visionette mechanical television. 45 lines, 3-to-1 interlace. This is the internal guts. I'll let John start it up and tell us the particulars.
Okay. The format converter is giving us a 45 line screen triply interlaced at 15 frames per second. It's a synchronous motor that runs this thing, but it's not self-starting. So you crank. There we go. Bring it up to speed. increase the voltage on it. But then we have to phase it, because every time you start it up, it starts up in random phase. And what we're doing is we're looking at a Indian head pattern with this little video camera right here. And so I'm just going to bring that in and phase it. I think I've gone one too far. Okay, there is the picture.
Yep.
And let's see if we can get a picture of Richard here.
Okay.
Okay, Richard, here we go. Smile, and let's see if we can get you on the camera.
There we go. I'll do some B-rolls. Labguy here in 45 line 3-to-1 interlace. Ha! Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
How's the camera doing with it?
Very good, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. That's too close to focus,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
there we go. See, it's doing very
All
good.
right, and let's take a look. Sort of here. We can take a look.
Yeah.
Just take a look at some of the equipment on the shelf right above. There's a nice Hewlett-Packard bridge right there. Go over to the cap checker right next door. You can actually see these things. Go over to the Indian head, and believe it or not, you can almost make out some of the stuff on the Indian head.
Too close. There we go. That's amazing.
Isn't that something?
Yep. Sweet. Well, you saw it here first on Labguy's World. And you'll be able to see it at the museum, or
Yeah.
no?
Oh yes, this goes to the museum.
And what museum is that?
California Historical Radio Society in Alameda, California.
I'm going to go see that one of these days soon. All right. It's just a television Oktoberfest, although it's November.
That was Labguy's adventure in Berkeley yesterday. We saw 2 working Iconoscope cameras, a working image Orthicon camera, and a working mechanical TV. Top that.
Labguy out.